Welcome to Mod My Toyota 4Runner presented by iBot. That's right, everybody. I am super pumped for this as this is my new 2014 Toyota 4Runner Limited model, and we have a ton of cool stuff we're going to be putting on it. We're going to be improving power, we're going to be improving suspension, and obviously we're going to be doing the looks and braking. All of that is going to come together, and I think this thing is going to look amazing after we're done with it. But first, we need to go for a ride so I can tell you what I like and dislike about this truck. Welcome to the 4Runner Limited version,
Nice.
DP.
Yeah, I don't think I've been in one of these before, actually.
Yeah, it's certainly a change of pace for me. I'm used to the German vehicles and coming from them. The interior is a bit more Spartan. The Limited version does have a lot of the premium upgrades that you would expect.
It's nice in here.
Yeah, it's got the digital climate control. This is what I really like. It's got cooled and
seats,
heated seats. Let me turn that on for you.
Just so like you can the Flexus, that's right.
That's right. So you can enjoy the cooling factor of the seat. So everything's leather. It's got the wood trim, which I don't love. I don't know why. Every time people think Limited, they got to, or like wood premium, trim, they want to put wood trim in it. But
it's an old school thing.
Yeah, and I really do like the layout of everything. It is utilitarian to a certain extent.
I like the big controls for the HVAC system and four-wheel drive system. It's nice.
Before we get too far ahead, I want to mention the price tag that I purchased this thing for, which was not cheap.
No.
And I bought it at the bottom end of the spectrum, which was $25,000 Canadian.
Wow. For a 14.
For a 2014, it has 180,000 kilometers on it. So I think that's roughly around
average,
110 miles.
Yeah,
around there.
Yeah.
And I bought it cheap. Like most of these are in the 30 range, and these Toyotas certainly hold their value for good reason. They are excellent trucks. They're reliable. They I don't want to say drive well, but they have a certain style of driving to them.
Yeah,
it is a body on frame.
Truck-like,
yes,
for sure.
Yes, and I think a lot of people do enjoy that.
But on the upside, you do get real truck performance. You can do some real off-roading in this.
That's where these shine.
You know, you can do things that you couldn't do in your Touareg or your brother's Cayenne.
Yeah, the off-road performance is spectacular on these. I think that's why so many people love them. And the on-road manners aren't terrible.
No.
There's certainly things that need to be improved on, which we will be doing. But the thing that I really find abysmal about this vehicle is the 4-liter 6-cylinder that is in this truck SUV. It's pitiful. Like let me floor it here. Like it just, it's okay.
It's not bad.
It's okay. It's
not inspiring, but it's not bad. You said abysmal, Peter. Those are strong words, man. I mean, that's a little slightly underwhelming, but 20 years ago, this thing was, that felt fast to me in a car from like the 90s. That was fast.
Well, yeah, but we're in the 2020s now.
But this engine's been around since the 90s.
I know. Well, that's part of the problem. It really needs a boost in performance.
It does.
And the throttle mapping on this is terrible too. I find like it's constantly in this eco mode, and unless you drive it in sport mode, which really, who wants to do that all the time? You want to be able to drive this normally, and I find like it's just like, look at it, like that's about 50%. You really like, you got to hammer on it like to feel that kind of acceleration. You know what though, even with putting this thing around, it gets 12.7 liters for 100 kilometers.
Okay.
I don't know what the mile per gallon conversion on that is.
Great.
I'm gonna post that up.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
No.
Like for a 6-cylinder, you'd expect this truck to get much better. That's
maybe like 18, 19 miles per gallon, somewhere in that neighborhood.
It's not great. The other thing I want to complain about is the brakes.
Okay.
They probably are very close to the end of their service life. But the pedal just see how it's like spongy, and you get like, feel that nosedive too.
Yeah, a lot of nosedive. You're right.
The suspension on this vehicle certainly needs some tuning, which we have, thankfully, iBot to the rescue for that. The reliability of these is is amazing. Like you said, they've been around forever. They are still selling these as 2021 model years, and they keep selling them. It's not like they sell 2 a month. They are being sold like hotcakes.
Yeah. I think from a style perspective, it's already looks cool, and I think we're gonna
make it look so much cooler. Cool, so. Yeah, that's the downside with these limiteds. I find they have a lot of chrome on them. They're built out for more of like the street version of this truck, where the SR5 or TRD versions are more of like the aggressive off-road look. And you know, if you guys saw in the intro that we do have SR5 TRD bumpers that we're going to be installing, so this thing's going to look super cool, and that's what's going to make this truck really unique, is that we're going to have all the amenities of a limited with the look of the TRD version, which you don't really get often. Yeah,
I'm excited to see how the I-Box suspension performs too, because driving around on these rough roads, we are kind of bouncing around a lot in here.
It's very truck-like, man. Like you said, it needs more compliance, right?
Yeah.
And we have the rough roads here for that.
Yeah, it'll be a good test. As a matter of fact, we got a railroad up here, PT.
Yes.
Why don't we?
That's a good one.
Let's get some hang time over those railroad tracks.
I'm gonna go. Let's see. Let's go 40 kilometers over this, which seems that's pretty normal. These are pretty bad. So. Oh.
I mean, it's a truck. It took them, but
it did. And we're talking, it's on the smallest possible tires. Like these come with, I think, like 20-inch wheels, and this is like a winter setup that I bought the SUV with. So that, all things considered, felt pretty decent.
Not terrible. On the 20s, it would have been rougher for sure.
All right, DP, let's pull this thing into the garage and get down to work here, because I am pumped to show you guys what we're doing. Part of the reason why this truck came so cheap to me was because it is on these 4th gen 4Runner wheels on old winter tires too. So we are gonna be making an upgrade. But first, let's have a look right here. You can see this brake rotor is cooked, man. No wonder the brake performance on it is bad. Like, look at it, holy smokes. It is super worn, super rusted. So we are in dire need of making an upgrade here. And just like that, we have hit our first problem, and guess what? It is rust related. That is one of the downsides to Toyotas of this generation. They do rust, and as you can see, this truck isn't actually that bad. This is all surface rust here. However, as we mentioned, these brakes probably haven't been done in ages, which means these pins that hold the brake pads in are completely seized. I've been pounding on this one here, and it does not move. This one, I even tried to take like a chisel and smash it out. It doesn't move. You can see I put a set of vice grips on here, tried to rotate that to get it off, and guess what? These pins are stuck in these calipers, and at this point, I'm going to say it's time for new calipers, because you can see they're kind of rotted too. It makes sense just to replace them. They're actually not super expensive. PowerStop actually offers a complete brake package for this vehicle. Unfortunately, when I ordered the pads and rotors, which I'll show you in a second, they did not have the calipers in stock, so I couldn't get the complete deal. So I just ordered up a set of reman ones, which should be here soon. To upgrade that rusty old brake package setup, I have gone with PowerStop's Z36 Extreme Duty tow and brake upgrade, and that includes these carbon ceramic brake pads. These actually have much better initial bite than the stock ones, so you're going to get that immediate feel, but they don't have the dust that is usually associated with pads like that, so they do have a low dust aspect to it. The rotors are, as you can see, slotted and cross drilled, and they are zinc plated, which is huge, because as you guys saw, we do have an all-weather climate here, which means these will see winter and they will resist rust as long as possible. They also include all of the mounting hardware. These are looking factory fresh, man. I'm so pumped on this, so much better. I noticed that our sway bar end link looks like it is worn out, so I'm going to replace it. The issue that we have with these is this nut will just spin. Let me show you real quick. I'll put a wrench on here. So I'll try to loosen this. And you can see now it's starting to spin, and because there's so much rust, usually what you would do is come in with an Allen head here and then hold it, but because it's so rusted, you can't even get it in there. This is a tool that Dave and I have come to love because of rust, and that is the Bolt Buster heat induction tool. And essentially, it's just a coil that heats this up and transfers heat into the bolt and hardware here. And the beauty of this is it really localizes the heat. So look at that, it is glowing red hot. Now I'll be able to come in here and put this on. And look at that, I can power that in there without any issue. Look, it just spins it so easily. As you can see, this end link is shot, so it's a good thing I've got the Dorman premium extended life end link right here. It actually has 5 to 10 times greater corrosion resistance over OE, so the metal here isn't gonna rust as badly. Same thing, it's got a higher quality ball and socket in here. So all in all, this means this is gonna be a high quality product that's gonna last long. But DP, I don't think I'm gonna install this because we might need to have the sway bar disconnected to get to the suspension, which is what we're doing next here.
It is now time to pull off the old OE shocks and springs. If you look closely, you can see there's actually a hydraulic line here at the bottom of the shock. And there's one on all 4 shocks because this truck has the X-RIA system, which basically links all 4 shocks with hydraulic fluid. And what that allows the system to do is to transfer more fluid to the shock with the most load to try to help support it, basically, you know, take some sway out of it, give it better damping. However, I gotta say this thing doesn't seem to have very good roll control and it has pretty terrible pitch control, as we talked about on that test drive. It nosedives really badly. So this system is not well loved on the internet. A lot of guys with trucks with this system delete it entirely and go to a conventional system because it's really prone to leaking and failing, and it's very expensive to replace. It costs like $3,000 to replace this system. So why not take the opportunity to pull this stuff off, get rid of a system that's prone to failure, and put some better stuff on? Well, I thought it'd just be 3 nuts on the top and 1 bolt on the bottom and pull it out of there, but no, it's not coming out without disconnecting this lower control arm and swinging it out of the way so I can drop that whole shock and spring assembly out of there. It is now time for Eibach everything, including my shirt, everyone, and that's because I thought, you know, it's kind of appropriate to bust this out, not just because we're equipping Pete's 4Runner with everything Eibach, but because I actually used to be sponsored by Eibach when I was racing back in the Canadian touring car days, PT, and this kind of gives me fond memories of those times when I was running their ERS race springs on my EG Civic, which you'll remember well, and with that stuff on my car, all I was doing was winning races, and I thought, man, once you put this on here, you're going to be winning races on your way to like the organic vegan grocery stores with your wife and your baby. So different kind of racing, but nonetheless, this is going to pay off big dividends in terms of comfort, ride control, going to get rid of a lot of that nosedive, and that really comes from the way that Eibach has valved these Pro Truck dampers. We opted for their Stage 2 kit, which includes these front coilovers, which obviously give you ride height adjustability. And the damping is really where the magic happens. And in their Stage 2 damping, it gives you even better bump control. So if you're off-roading, you're hitting really big bumps, these soak it up and control the spring remarkably well. It'd be really interesting actually to see how these work on the street, because it should make the truck more compliant, but it does raise the question of whether it's going to feel more rolly or whether it's going to feel better controlled. So we'll obviously get you that feedback once we've installed these and gone for a proper test drive. And out back we went with, of course, their Pro Truck dampers, which have all the same technology built in as the fronts, but we also went with their load leveling kit. And this gives you these adjustable coilovers in the rear, which again allow you to adjust the ride height to set it where you want, and to increase load capacity in this case. So we've actually gone with our plus 250 pound kit, which means the back end won't start to sag
as early as it would without this increase in rear end capacity. So we were thinking, since this SUV will probably do some towing from time to time, admittedly with our lightweight aluminum trailer, that 250 pounds should really help prevent the back end from getting too low, and then the steering gets light and you get towed in the front, you wear your tires. So all in all, I think this will work really well for our application in towing, but could also work well for you if you're overlanding and you're putting like a big heavy tent on the back of your SUV, or you're just using it for hauling a lot of heavy stuff around in the back. So they have this leveling kit in a range of weights. You can add 0 weight, you can add 250. I think you can even add up to, was it 500 pounds, Pete? Something
400, yeah.
400 pounds. So they have a lot of options on their website. So go to eibach.com, check it all out. They have a really large lineup of pro truck stuff now, especially for popular Toyota trucks like Pete and I are into. Before we install those coilovers, I'm actually going to take the opportunity, now that everything's out of the way, to throw some fluid film on all these rusty areas, which you couldn't normally get at that easily if the coilovers and everything were in there. So we're going with fluid film black, which is tinted black, so it'll blend in nicely here. We are going to do the whole underside of the truck, but we figured while everything's out of the way here, let's just hit it with some of this. So super easy to apply, and it goes on quite nice and thick. You don't need to apply it thick, but it has a nice like thickness to it, so it sticks really well. I should mention that this setup will let us raise the front ride height up to 2.5 inches, which really valuable on a truck like this because they do sit low in the front and high in the back, which looks a little weird. I think they do that because once you load the back up, the back sags so much. But
most people don't load these trucks up, so
exactly.
You find yourself driving around like every time I look at this truck, it's just got this weird rake.
Yeah, so on my Tundra, we put a spacer in there to level it out, but on this, we obviously have the adjustability of a coilover. Just putting this final washer and nut on the bottom bolt here, and man, really love the construction quality of these billet lower housings, billet collar and billet top hat are really just give you a feel of quality. And we know from the past running Eibach coilovers on our S2000 and on our Mustang that this stuff does work exceptionally well. They always do a great job on like selecting their spring rates and then matching those spring rates with their damping. So I'm very optimistic this is going to improve the ride of the 4Runner a bunch. And by the way, for those of you wondering, when you lift the car, a lot of times it will throw the suspension geometry out and you need to add adjustable upper control arms in. But Eibach actually designed this kit around the factory geometry so that you don't need to change any of the control arms, and this will still work perfectly.
What we're gonna start off with right now is I'm gonna remove the shock up here, and if this bolt is loose, I can't even get that in there, DP. If this bolt is loose here, or if I can get it loose, then we are in business. Otherwise, we're gonna have to get the torch out here, but oh yeah, look at that. They're not tight at all. With all the stock stuff out, I'm gonna start off by installing this Eibach spring perch adapter. This is for the top of the spring here. It's a little finicky because there's a nut on the top side that I need to slide into place, but once it's in there, you just tighten it up and that'll be it. Next up is the lower rubber isolator, then our adjustable spring perch that sits in like that, and finally our spring. And our Eibach bump stop kit is in place. You can see the factory one is so much smaller. We are going to be raising this vehicle, so they've accounted for that. And this has a progressive rate, which means it's just going to offer you more control when it does hit the bump stop, and it's going to stop the shock from bottoming out. You may not know this, but Eibach shocks and springs and sway bars, almost everything they make is made in-house in the USA, a very, very high quality material. And each and every shock is designed specifically for the chassis and the application. So for example, these are for the 4Runner. Even though they may bolt up to something like a Tundra, the valving is different and all that. It's all done in-house by their engineers in California. And remarkably, they offer a limited 1 million mile lifetime warranty on these. So if you ever have one blow out or fail, you can rest assured that they're going to be able to come in and they will warranty it without any issues. This is all looking minty fresh now, except these brakes. I wonder what I can do about that. So easy, would you look at that? And once again, we do have our Power Stop Z36 Extreme brake package on the rear here. We did opt for a Remand brake caliper because we did the front one. I decided why not do the rear. However, my recommendation is if PowerStop has their kit in stock, get that because it's gonna come powder coated. You can see we got this janky one that's like mismatched here, the caliper
Bracket
with
is black,
and the
yeah.
bracket. So it's just not great. This is eventually going to rust, so get the one from them.
Bam! Now for everyone's favorite part of this video, the wheel and tire reveal, because nothing changes the look of your truck, your SUV, or your car more than a new set of wheels and tires. And man, I am pumped on these. These are genuine TRD wheels that we sourced from Sunrise Toyota in New York State. And this is a new offering in this bronze finish, which I think is gonna look really good on this pearl white paint. It's gonna, bronze on white, it's a killer look. You just can't beat it. And for tires, we have gone with General's Grabber Arctic LT. These are actually a winter tire, and the reason we're equipping these with a winter tire is because what came off the truck was also a winter tire in this exact same size. I think it's a 265/70 R17. You can see here they have, you know, the typical type of siping that you would expect to see in a winter tire. What interested me though is they've got these little steps in the grooves that are actually designed to give you more traction and deep powder. We kept it super genuine. We even went with genuine Toyota lug nuts in this black finish. These are the lock nuts, but let me show you the regular ones. And I really like the fact that you can get a lug nut in a black finish because frankly, like your typical OE chrome lug nut would look kind of goofy.
Yeah, it was not gonna look good.
Now you got like the black logo with the black lug nut. So this whole setup is winning, PT. However, stay tuned because in a future episode on this truck, you will see his summer wheel and tire package too. That's gonna blow minds even more than these, if that's even possible.
Wow, what a transformation a proper suspension and wheels do to this truck. Holy smokes. Honestly, it looks like a new truck to me. It's kind of crazy. You guys did see, we spent a lot of time dialing in the height of the suspension, and that is equally as important as installing it. It does take time and effort to get that right. It will still settle a bit, so we're not exactly sure that this is going to be its final resting place. You gotta go drive it and see how it works out. One of the huge advantages to having a coilover now is you can see we have gotten rid of the rake that this vehicle had before, which was a huge thing for us. We did raise the ride height by an inch. Again, we'll see where it kind of like levels out, but right now we are an inch higher than stock.
Well, PT, you've driven a whole half a block now. What do you think?
I'll tell you one thing. The brakes are very good.
Okay.
Much, much better.
Yeah.
Feel that?
Oh, wow, yeah.
The pedal's just like more immediate. It's there, it's present. Before there was, like I said, there was like this weird dead spot.
Mm-hmm.
That is all but gone. Feel that, man.
Yeah, that's good.
And we haven't even bedded these in
No,
yet.
which
And
we need to do.
they're so much better, which is fantastic. And guess what? The nosedive.
Yeah. Oh,
Dude,
yeah, you're right.
It's gone, man.
It really
it's
is gone.
amazing.
Admittedly, some of that's probably because we took a bunch of rake out. But
Yeah, but still, yeah.
That's impressive.
Like it's fixed itself, whether we've raised it,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it's a combination of both, the dampening and that. But
For
like,
sure it
you know,
is.
like feel that, wow.
Yeah, that's way better.
So much better,
Yeah.
man. So,
And it does feel more compliant.
yes, 100% it does. Like feel it over the bumps. It
Yeah.
doesn't kind of have that. Man, it's hard to explain. It was like a jarring, like almost an aftershock when you when you come over bumps with these types of with the stock suspension. Now it just kind of like, look, I'm
It soaks
cruising
them up
over
way
them.
nicer, yeah.
Yeah,
It does feel like it's off-road ready somehow, though. Like there feels like there's a little bit more willingness to roll initially, but it's really well controlled too.
Yes,
like it's an interesting feeling, and we do feel like we're sitting higher too.
For sure, you kind of do feel like you're sitting higher. What I also notice is, like you said, it does feel like it has more of that off-road feel, but it's not mushy.
No,
it's not soft. Like, man,
it's hard to explain, isn't it? It feels more compliant, and yet it feels better controlled. Like there's better motion control.
Yes.
And yet it has more willingness to like soak up bumps. It's a really cool
like
feeling.
if I go back and forth like this here, freaking people out. Like feel it. It's so car-like, man. It's kind of like you're driving a car. Like this thing. It's crazy. It's so cool.
It's really cool.
It doesn't have like that, I'm gonna fall over
feeling.
Mushy feeling. Like, wow, man.
And yet when you hit a high-speed bump like that, it soaks it right up.
Yeah, so. It just doesn't, like, the stock suspension had that kind of jar over the bumps.
Harshness.
Where it was like, harshness, like
over
non-compliance, the high-speed bumps.
Yes.
And now, like, rolling over these, man, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, we're just soaking this up. This is a really big one here. Let's see how this goes. Oh, dude, that's so, like, we didn't even feel it there.
Love it.
Oh, man, this is so good.
This is a Hamilton tuned suspension.
That's
you can smash all the potholes now and not even worry.
My goodness, this is like full pothole ready. Now, this isn't our original railroad track. This is a different one here. I'm gonna slow down to 60, and
oh man. Barely even got there.
Oh, dude.
The manhole was worse than the railroads.
That was incredible.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Plush. It's plush.
Wow.
I love it.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
60K. 60K.
We did it at 40 before. Oh wow.
So much better, man.
I thought I was gonna get my whiplash there, but no, that was good.
That is so good. All right, I'm gonna turn around and do that again. All right, that's just a little bit faster than 40K. And wow.
Yeah.
That does feel better.
Yeah, you can feel how much more able it is to soak up that initial
like the
big
motion
hit.
And then motion control is so much more where you don't have like that pogo stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's great, man.
Yeah, it's the way it unloads actually that's more impressive, isn't it? Because it just smooths the ride right out. There's no extra bump there.
Agreed. And I'm gonna do it one more time.
All right.
This time we're gonna go a little bit quicker.
Let's hit it at 80K, PT.
Well,
get some hang time here, bro.
See, this is where the truck lags. Man, it takes me, I really got to floor this thing. Now we are going 60K here.
All
right, hold on.
Here's your impact.
See?
Not even there.
Man. This is like a serious victory for us. This is my recommendation. I know iBox sponsored this video series, but holy smokes. Like, if you've got a 4Runner, get on this suspension because the difference is night and day.
It really is. And even though it's designed to improve the truck's off-road capability, man, it's way better on roads.
Heck yeah.
And it's kind of blowing my mind that you can do that. You can have, that big bump off-road ability, and yet it's so much nicer on the street.
Yeah,
like usually you see pre-runner trucks going down the highway and their tail's low and they look super soft, and this just rides perfectly. It's kind of crazy.
Wow. What can I say? That's awesome.
There's a lot of winning going on.
That is a lot of winning. We do have a couple of small little things that we do need to fix, and that is we have a heat shield that is rubbing, we do need an alignment, but that will come later, and we should break in the brake pads.
They got to be bedded in properly for them to work optimally.
Yes.
But it does need something else somehow, PT.
It does. I think we're gonna need, is this what you had in mind?
That'll do the trick, PT. That will do the trick. That's gonna be some work to install though, everyone. So you're gonna have to stay tuned to the next episode for us to slap this on that engine and make a whole bunch more jams. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, iBox, for sponsoring this series, and thank you, Mystery Supercharger Company, for bringing this to the party too. I'm stoked to get that in there.
Look at this G35 PT. It's got the whole...
It's like a Joker theme.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the black and gold Joker going on.
Holy smokes.
Well, he really wants you to go.
Yeah, I guess he does.
He just wants to give us more time to admire his sweet...
Wow.